can't hear me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Just give us 2 minutes to set this up.
Joined at IIM Calcutta, and where I started IIM Calcutta's highly successful long duration program. It started in '99 as a face-to-face program, and then I went one step forward. I made it digital, and from 2003, IIM Calcutta is a leader in executive education in the digital space. Even today, I ran it as an entrepreneur in a bureaucratic system like IIM, and it still ran for 5 years non-stop from 2003 to 2008. 2008 onwards, somebody else took it over, and I started this entrepreneurial project called the Strategy Academy. So what I'm going to share with you, you'll get a combination of inputs as a practicing manager, as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, and of course a faculty of IIM Calcutta. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to talk to you. I shall be doing about 30 minutes from now, completing whatever I have to say. And if you have questions, please ask me as I go along. This particular technology platform is so strong that I can answer your question the moment you ask me. So please, we are going to start again. I've been told that to start from beginning. So once more to repeat, I guess that you didn't hear the whole thing. I guess I'm Ranjan Das. My personal apology that I could not come myself and talk to you in front of you because of a personal problem which I'm facing right in Calcutta. At the last moment, I had to cancel the trip. But I have this access to this solution, the technology solution, which is a part of a larger picture called Smart Learning and Transformation Solution that I've developed over the 9 years. What I shall be talking to you is out of my heart, out of my intellect, whatever little I've got, because in my 43 years experience, I have seen the following thing. I worked as a practicing general manager and managing director of a small company and a medium-sized company. I did work as an entrepreneur last 5 years of my corporate life, where a big project was set up, which was set up as a part of a main company and then spun off where I became the managing director. Then I became a faculty at IIM Calcutta, which I'm still continuing. But at IIM Calcutta, I became second-time entrepreneur when I started IIM Calcutta, highly successful long-duration executive education, of which a bulk of it is digital technology, which of all the 3 IIMs is the first one to start at IIM Calcutta. And yours truly was the person who was driving it, even though I was a full-time employee at IIM Calcutta as a professor. In 2008, my next journey started as an entrepreneur, and I set up India's first 100% live and two-way interactive digital platform, digital academy called the Strategy Academy. And this particular telecast is coming to you, the broadcast is coming to you live and exclusive from the studio of the Strategy Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy it. This technology is highly interactive. Please do not wait for the last 15 minutes for the question answer session. I request you that please ask me as the questions coming. I'll answer immediately, because nothing like answering question the moment it comes to your mind. Otherwise, I have dedicated 15 minutes of my lecture, last 15 minutes, and I've been told that at a 45 minutes time, it is now 11 o'clock, so I guess at 11:40 I should be over, of which means at 11:25 I have to finish, so that we have sufficient number of questions. Please keep me busy in answering questions, because questions are the real answers. Whatever I do, I'll be doing from my side, but when you ask questions, I'm customizing it. That's the way to go about. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ranjan Das talking from Calcutta at Strategy Academy. The first point to the agenda for today, we are going to talk about essence of entrepreneurship and encouraging entrepreneurship. There are two aspects to it. One is the individual who can be an entrepreneur even though he's an employee of an organization. Another part is the company, the organization. How does it spot entrepreneurs, how does it promote entrepreneur, and of course reward people. So today's lecture has these two perspectives I'm maintaining all through. One is from the perspective of an individual manager, and the other is the perspective of a company. So the agenda is, who is an entrepreneur? I won't spend time because you know it very well. Who is an entrepreneur? I'll spend some time. Then I ask a question. If any of you present in the classroom today, in the session hall today, how do you, in order to become an entrepreneur, what is that you need? These are coming out of my heart because I did twice. I did twice, once as a part of a corporate world and the other as a part of IIM Calcutta. So I'll be talking about how do you become an entrepreneur in front of the mirror. The other things they're talking about an organization, actions to promote entrepreneurial orientation in an organization where people are working. How do you create the risk orientation? How do you make it happen on the ground, even though you are the employee, not just an employee? And finally, how do you promote entrepreneurship from action plan, from an individual's point of view, from a company point of view? That's what I thought through, and I have to finish it at 11:25. So that you have got that much time. Please keep your questions ready, and you can ask a question. You can ask me a question as the next corporate manager. You can ask me a question that corporate managers don't encourage entrepreneurship. You can ask me a question what are the pains and pleasure of an entrepreneur. You can ask me a question as what did you feel the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneur, because I did both. And you can ask me, of course, as a professor of IIM Calcutta, the academic, the theoretical concepts behind whatever I'm saying. Ladies and gentlemen, lovely talking to you over this digital platform, 21st century new normal. First is entrepreneurs, and I'll quickly run through. I don't need to even have a look at it. Just a minute. Who is an entrepreneur? He has an idea. He or she has an idea that he believes that being an economic and social benefits, that's a fundamental thing. People think that entrepreneurs are there to make money. That's wrong. I'm leaving those, of course, those special characters, but most people believe they're doing something that will create where he can see these are the areas where he knows best. It'll raise his or her self-esteem. The word self-esteem is so important, and outcome of which will benefit himself, his country, and the community and society at large. The profits are impact of entrepreneurial work. But it can't be the starting point. The starting point is whatever an entrepreneur does, he or she believes is going to benefit the country, the customers, the community, and the society at large, and the profits follow. It can't be just money making, then you can't be successful as an entrepreneur. There must be a larger picture. If you don't have a larger picture, you can't be successful. Another thing is that he or she is excited about the small and the big things to do to pursue that new idea that others don't get, and is very passionate about the outcome that are expected to be created. There are two things I'm saying. You're excited about the small and the big things you're going to do, and you're passionate about outcomes that you are going to produce. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have that excitement, if you don't have that passion, it doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. Anyway, you remain what you are. You can't do anything. The biggest thing is your passion to do something different and the excitement that you get out of working like an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. I go to the next slide, and now, just a minute. So, anyway, our slides are moving a bit faster. Yes, he's ready to execute the idea. The entrepreneur is somebody, is not a theoretical idea. You know, anyone can get an idea, but that's chapter 1 of the book, like that. The real stuff is, can you get it on the ground? There are many people talk about entrepreneurship. There are few can actually do it. So he's ready to execute the idea and take the underlying risk. If you can't take the risk, you're out. And what you need is actually you are putting your energy, the boldness, the courage, spirit, expertise to start and grow the initiative. In entrepreneurship, jo dar gaya to mar gaya. Absolutely you are dead. Because the entrepreneur knows beyond the doubt, beyond your get fear, you have to win. There is rewards waiting for you. You can take the risk. And the biggest risk India is taking today, or Indian companies is taking today, is not taking adequate risk. It applies to individual too. And finally, the entrepreneur maybe probably has less resources than what he or she needs to start a venture. I've seen it time and again. As a faculty at IIM Calcutta, how much money one gets to start a venture 8 years ago at the age of 60. Today I'm 68. I started this new digital academy without any outside funding from today. I use my provident fund. You're always short of resources, and that's the pleasure of really struggling out. Then only you get to know how good you are. That's one thing is very important for entrepreneurship. I move on to the next item, intrapreneurship. And first thing you must understand what is called performance. Forget about intrapreneurship. First, to understand what is performance. Performance is equal to opportunity by resources, which basically says resources that you put create certain amount of opportunities. That ratio is the performance, okay? But this ratio is not maximized by doing just this. And a real entrepreneur or an entrepreneur actually try to maximize this. And we know what he does? This equation can be maximized only in one particular way, when opportunity goes up and simultaneously resources come down. So opportunity is going up and resources coming down. And more the gap, more outstanding and the dramatic performance. No entrepreneur or entrepreneur will start a venture unless he can see clearly the performance is outstanding performance going to be, which is maximize opportunity while minimizing resources continuously. For an existing company and its managers, what investment is already made, their job will be, given the investment already made, how do I reduce it or add incrementally here and there, but simultaneously push the opportunity. Today, companies need entrepreneurs for both. People think entrepreneurs means only opportunity to increase the top line. But I can see entrepreneurship also required to reduce resources or optimize resources in such a way this particular mathematical equation is maximized. So performance becomes outstanding or dramatic only when opportunity is maximized and the resources are also minimized or redeployed in such a way that the outcome is highest performance. And only entrepreneur in an existing company or an entrepreneur given his own investment can do that. So this equation is important. So the action that we take is how do you become outstanding performers? You need innovation and entrepreneurship in an existing company context, resource productivity, that is, you have to be constantly finding what kind of new risk I can take in order to restructure and rationalize so that I can improve my performance exponentially. At the same time, if you only do this, you become a very negative person. You are becoming smaller. You may be becoming smarter, but you are becoming smaller. I need people to take risk and start finding new opportunities. That's entrepreneurial. In other words, I'm redefining entrepreneurship with two angles. One perspective is create new opportunities. And number two, find new opportunities to reduce resource deployment or put it in different way, how to get more resource productivity. When you combine this, you become an outstanding performer. Today's organizations are looking for people who can do double duty. This double duty is important. You need innovation and entrepreneurship within companies at two levels, creating opportunities, at the same time redeploy resources in such a way that the ratio between opportunity and the performance, the resource productivity gets maximized. So when I talk about entrepreneurship, please remember this mathematical equation. You have to maximize opportunity and minimize or redeploy through restructuring and rationalizing resources. As I told you, I'm waiting for questions, but you have a choice not to ask me question now. You can ask me at the end, and still I've got 15 minutes time in my hand. Entrepreneurship, now I'm coming back to entrepreneurship, is very simple. It's typically an intra-organizational revolutionary. He's going to create revolution at two levels, creating new opportunities and finding new ways of running the business investment or running the department the way he's running in the new way so that you require less and less resources, at the same time creating new opportunities. In other words, he challenges the status quo and fighting to change the system from within. That's the biggest qualification, the biggest definition of an entrepreneur. He challenges the status quo and fighting to change the system from within. An organization can create a culture of entrepreneurialism so that it can operate nimbly in an entrepreneurial fashion. And that's important if he wants to be an industry disruptor. There are two approaches to entrepreneurship. One is called the coexistence approach, another is called structural separation approach. The coexistence means, and I like that, if you ask me, I did the same thing in IIM Calcutta. You are doing an existing work, and side by side, you are trying to do those two things, create new opportunities and with least resource deployment. So IIM Calcutta became India's largest executive education provider, long duration, driven on technology-enabled route. You know how? We created a complete revenue stream, largest in the country, but without deploying any new assets. We created a delivery model, and yours truly is the one that you found out by creating a sole constellation of service provider connected in a particular way, and we became fantastic ratio between the opportunity, value created to opportunity, and the resources to deploy. And it's down to a coexistence. I did not stop teaching at a faculty at that time. So I was doing, it's called coexistence. You are playing a double duty. You are running your 2 days job. You are also doing the other thing for entrepreneurship. Other is a structural separation approach, which says that no, this requires a separate culture, separate reward system, separate staffing, separate culture. So let's keep it separate. These I experienced in my first job when I was a general manager of a new project as a part of a company, and then the company was spun off into a separate company, and they said, no, it will not work without a separate legal structure, and then they found yours truly again a managing director of that company. So that's very important, which kind of approach. But if you ask me, don't wait for the second part. Second part will take long time. You try to become an entrepreneur with a coexistence approach that I do my current job, but in that job, can I find a new opportunity as well as an opportunity to reduce my resource deployment? And that will become an entrepreneur. Companies are looking for that kind of thing, the kind of professional consulting I do in the people development process, in the talent development process. I'm now insisting this simple stuff that one is delivering today's performance. Is there a second duty they're doing, delivering, building tomorrow's business? And that's entrepreneurs are required. How do you become an entrepreneur? That questions to ask. Now I'm coming to you as an individual, not company. Now I'm coming to you as an individual. This time, this portion is coming from my heart because I actually myself experienced this. Well, I use the word I because it's happened to me. Can I tolerate high level of risk? Risk means ambiguity. Risk means you don't know exactly. Risk sometimes could be so difficult. For example, you neither know the options that are going to open up, nor you know the probability. For example, you toss a coin, you know the options. It will be head or tail. You know the probability 50-50. In the case of entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship, the biggest thing is, can you tolerate risk and ambiguity where you neither know the options, nor you know the probability of each of the options? Am I an overachiever in my eyes? Have I worked like a clerk the last 15, 20 years, or I'm an overachiever? It's important. You must have a respect for yourself that I am an overachiever. Am I able to put 10 to 12 hours per day over an extended period of time, including weekends, to reach my goals? Are you the person and you say, oh my God, after 5 days and 9 hours a day, I can't walk. Hey, gentlemen, then our ladies, you are not the person I should be talking to you as a great entrepreneur. You need to be able to work 10 to 12 hours, non-stop 5 years. That's it. I know you have to negotiate with your family, there's a work-life balance, all those things you hear. But at the end of the day, you have your self-image. There's only one life. You decide what you want. And that's a very important point. Can you work? Without hard work, just forget it. First thing, hard work. Am I a self-starter? Do I wait for somebody to tell me to start? I start myself. All entrepreneurs are self-starters. They see an opportunity either for resource deployment, new ways, or they see an opportunity for a new business case, and they start. Sometimes they don't tell others, they just start. And they're doing a double duty, which means coexistence. Doing the regular job, nobody can blame them that you're not doing a regular job. They find a way out. Another thing is that, will I describe myself as a good decision maker? You have to take so many quick decisions. If you're waiting for somebody to tell you something, you are late. You are late. You've got to do it yourself. Am I willing to put my personal reputation and track record at risk? Very important. It has been haunting me all the time. Being the senior most faculty in IIM Calcutta in strategy field, I have this big problem of you might fail. But if I say, if I can't do this job, then I should not be teaching at all. What's the point of being senior most? Or rubbish that people say. You've got to put your personal reputation. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, until you stake your personal reputation, no fundamental thing you can do. Unless you stake your personal reputation, no fundamental thing can do. And what will happen finally at the end of the day, you'll be reporting to somebody who is doing the job. What you call putting the personal career reputation at stake and doing big things, and you will be left behind and you will report to somebody who is half your age. Be ready for that. The new age is those who can take risk. If you can't take risk, sooner or later you have to leave the job, because companies today want people who can take risk. So these are the questions you ask. And the next coming up question is, one more, and jumped again. There's one slide is jumping sometimes. Do I have the mental toughness? Look at this. Mental toughness and commitment to build a business in the face of long hours and modest odds of success. Oh, you don't know how many times I cried inside me. My God, nothing is happening, nothing is happening. And there are bureaucracy of the organization coming and hitting you. On the other side, things are not happening. And you still saying, I shall do it. It shall be done. If you don't say, I will do it, I shall do it, nothing can be done. Because there are opponents everywhere. The internal bureaucracy and externally customers don't like to listen to you. Nobody wants to change, you know that? Nobody wants to change. They think that you are the stupid guy doing all these things. But that's why one needs mental toughness, your conceptual clarity. You say, I will do it. Am I comfortable stretching the rules? Sometimes rules are there. Can you stretch it? I'm not saying violate it. Violation and stretching are a different thing. I need more time to explain that, but it's no more, at least I can tell you, it is not illegal. It is not unethical. Stretching means interpretation, and if you can't do that, it can't. Am I prepared to make powerful enemies? There are people who will go against you. Your boss will go against you. Your subordinate might go against you. There's a lobby working against you. But in spite of all this resistance, you should say, it shall be done. You must say, I, and I alone can do it. The I is such a powerful force in entrepreneurship. You'll carry everybody with you, but deep inside your mind, you know that you have to do it. And that's why I wrote it out. Do I have a patience to start small? Start small. The rule is very simple. Think big. Start small. Retain flexibility. Scale up quickly. Again, think big. Start small. Retain flexibility and scale up quickly. So do I have the patience to start small? Don't think big, but start small. Am I willing to change strategy quickly? Why? You are learning, making mistakes, learning, making mistakes like that. You are learning all the time. Other thing is that you must have this question. Do I have this thing? You can read it later. The last red marks I'm going to read out, a passion for what I'm doing and excited about the outcome that I'm likely to produce. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the entrepreneur or entrepreneur, if you don't have that music inside your heart, you can't do it. A passion for of what I'm doing and excited about the outcomes that I'm likely to produce. The 10 Commandments for the entrepreneurship, as it's called 10 Commandments, means you know what it is. And I'm just going to read out a few things. This is of course available everywhere. Simple thing. Be ready to do any job needed. You don't say, I'm a general manager, I'm a manager, I can't do that. Oh, you don't know what you have to do. You have to do. You sit in front of a class 4 staff in a government office, day after day, day after day, day after day to get yours done. I've done it. I've done it. You go by bus, you go by van, you go by anything. You walk 5 kilometers. Be ready to do any job needed to make the project work success, regardless of one's job description. But please share credit wisely. Wisely and widely also, I think. Remember, it is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. For everything, don't ask permission. Then you are not a risk taker. Till the time you know you are not, there is no integrity question. Till the time you know there are no ethical issues involved. Please do it sometime. Sometimes I find that when you ask for permission, actually the man himself is looking for an excuse not to do it. I follow the other principle. If I'm clear in my mind that there is no unethical issues involved, integrity is not involved, I sometimes go without permission. Because and they say, sir, what can be done, sir? I've done it, but father, mother, please help me to solve it. Please help me. Please don't mind. I won't do it like this next time. And next time I'll do it. Okay. Because your commitment to the goal is so obvious, but you have to make sure that there is no integrity issue, no ethics issue. Till the time these two are okay, please do all the things. If permission takes long time, don't give excuse later. Please remember, entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs should never give reasons because they know reasons for underperformance are nothing but excuses. I'm sure none of you will give. Come to work each day willing to be fired. If you are not willing to be fired, you are not an entrepreneur. And tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you and I don't get a job after being fired, who will get it? Tell me. Tell me who will get it? If you and I get fired on a particular day because of our entrepreneurship, and we don't get a job, who will get it in India? So don't get worried. Please let it be fired. Otherwise, don't ask for money, this. You say, look, I have a problem, can you advise, how do I go out? Don't ask for advice. Don't ask for resources. Follow your intuition about people, build a team of the best. Obviously, you won't get the best people. That's why I always say, getting brilliance out of ordinary people is a. Don't look for the best people, then I don't need you. You have to have a people who have commitment. Skills can be built. Look for people with the right attitude. The best here means attitude. Skill part you can develop it. Build a quiet coalition, not who are shouting all the time. They should not be shouting. Quiet coalition of your idea. Early publicity triggers corporate immune. Somebody is going to kill you. I told you. Don't make it public from day one. Quiet coalition. Prabhu is saying that professional managed corporations have a highly structured job description for every employee position. An employee may have innovative ideas outside the purview of his own job, his own idea. How does he execute that? Please go and get a small little piece done. For example, you got an idea, you go and tell it. On the delivery side, you find a new way of delivering for that resources come down. Please, you can do many small things different. Want to establish yourself. Don't open your mouth. There are many things we can do. If you're really wanting to do it, you can do many things on your job. I've experienced this, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to ask. Many things you can do with the resources given. Don't tell it. Getting an idea is very easy. Anybody can get an idea. But converting that idea, so don't ask for permission. The moment you ask for permission, which means you're already saying, I'm not going to do it. I have the idea. What can I do? My boss did not allow it. Structured job, yes, I do all my job. I told you, Prabhu, that double duty. The duty one, do your job as good. Build credibility that the boss will not look at your job. And then you start outside working out some new things. I've done it several times. You have to be the highest best performer in your job. And that best performer with a risk-taking orientation, they'll do something else. But the people who are useless, who are underperformers, they give all kinds of excuses that the companies, they have a structured job, I can't do anything. You can do a lot more things if you really want. Prabhu, you can do a lot more things. Spent 20 years in corporate world. This structured world, and I also work as a consultant. I advise, but everywhere I can see there are a lot of spaces available to do things. Other thing is that, look at this point, very important. Never bet on a race unless you are running it. In other words, you have to run it yourself. Like as an R&D project, you want to take off with a new entrepreneurial venture, you have to run it yourself. You have to get the first order. You can't say, sir, I don't have a salesman. Forget it, man. If it's your project, you have to get the order. The first 3 orders has to be yours. If you're selling an ERP system, you have developed it, don't depend on others. That's for transactions and later. The first 3 orders you have to get. Nobody knows better than that. That's the point. Never bet on a race unless you are running it yourself. Be true to your goals. Be realistic about ways to achieve them. In the meantime, question from Gopal Krishna is saying that, are there any outstanding examples of entrepreneurship within corporate India, apart from IIM Calcutta, of course, and data intervention? Yeah, there are many things happening. There are many companies that spin off and get into, I know of a company called Phoenix India. It was a part of the Andrew. It was spun off as a unit, as a separate unit, and they did so well, Phoenix India, and then sold off to a German company, of course. The point is, it is happening in many companies. I may not have data. Entrepreneurs are there. And why do you have to spun off? Forget about it. You become general manager, you become managing director, Why? I remember a company's managing director passed on a particular day. The general manager marketing was sitting in the room. He did not know that a special meeting MD has passed away. The board met. They wanted the next MD to come. The chairman came to the general manager's room and said, you are the next MD. And he was surprised. You know why it happened? Because when he used to present to the board as a part of the management team, every time he talked about something about company's performance for the last month or last quarter, he also said, I can see an opportunity there, I have exploited that. And the board noted the second part of that, he's always talking about new things that he did it. Not verbose, but actually did it. And those were noted mentally by the chairman and the board. When the time came, the door opened, and he's the only person, because double duty is a very important thing. And I think that's the point. So there are many examples. Gopal Krishna offered, of course, immediately. But the one I gave you myself as a general manager, got into the spun-off organization at one time. The second one is an IIM Calcutta digital program, which I started myself. And the third time is as an entrepreneur, again remaining at IIM Calcutta, but took a sabbatical. I must say, I took a sabbatical for my strategy academy. For the second one, IIM Calcutta digital program, as a full-time on teaching as well as I doing it. So there are examples. There's no end of it. The one more question came from Vijay Paul from NetSub, and he's saying, how do you trade off entrepreneurial passion with organizational objective alignment? There's no trade-off. You can always achieve objective, there are 25 ways to achieve the same objective. Till the time I tell you, Vijay, till the time you're not violating the basic code of conduct the company has set or the values, anyone will support you. We're looking for people to take heroic action. What is heroic action in today's context? Today there is no war, but finding new ways of beating competition, finding new ways of improving productivity, that's the objective of any company. You mean to say that being inefficient is the objective? Can't be. I can't see that happening. And that's what I'm saying, that, I mean, please remember, there are 25 ways you can achieve an objective. Find that way which is risk-taking entrepreneurial. As a matter of fact, no big thing can be done without taking risk. I told you, it's not possible. The impact cannot be big. And mind it, there are situations when things will go wrong. It's not that every time it will be right 100%. You'll be failing. Remember the dialogue which it says? जीतने के लिए कभी कभी हारना पड़ता है और हार कर जो जीतता है उसी को कहता है बाजीगर. Now I add my line, क्योंकि बाजीगर भी एक strategist है. Bazigar is also an entrepreneur. He takes a risk. He knows he'll lose 8 out of 10, but the 9 and 10 will be so much big. That's the way the game goes on. And you have to have that power inside your belly to make that happen. So I go to the next slide, an action to promote entrepreneurial orientation. Simple stuff. Read it quickly for you. I made a PPT. You'll get it. Don't worry. Just listen to me. That's more important than what I'm writing it here. Important thing is that there's a growing need. The companies are saying, I need entrepreneurship. That's now I'm thinking of company's point of view. Spot growth opportunities as well as opportunities to improve efficiency in all forms of transaction. Look at this, what I say. Spot growth opportunities as well as opportunities to improve efficiency in all forms of transactions. So every time I'm doing a transaction job, which is today's job, I must see a double duty. I'm meeting today's delivery need, I'm meeting today's customer service need, but do I see that these as a first step for a major entrepreneurial venture? If there are two customer needs, and one supposed to be something big, a blue ocean kind of an opportunity, can I service that first before I do this? This double duty is what entrepreneurs are supposed to be doing. One is doing today's transaction that you have to do, otherwise you get sacked. And the other is, within the transaction, can you see some faint light? Can you see a faint light of a future opportunity which gives you confidence to follow that light wherever it takes you? Again, repeat. There's a transaction you are doing as a customer wanted or as a company wanted, but in that transaction you can see a faint light at the end of a black tunnel, and that gives you the confidence, your entrepreneurial orientation gives you the confidence that I'll follow that faint light wherever it takes. That's entrepreneurship. Are you getting what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? So entrepreneurial employees are able to participate in rewards what they create. Many companies are doing reward system that you do something new, you get a reward out of it, such as being granted something like ownership rights. Sometimes they give you ownership right. ESOP was one such thing. Another thing is, of course, they create performance pay on that basis. Please ask me a question. If possible, the firm also treats entrepreneurial team as a profit center sometimes. And I am one of those who have really gained by that. They created a profit center. That's where it was spun off later as a company. And other things, some companies give their entrepreneurial teams their own internal bank accounts, not in India, but it has happened already outside. Team members can choose the projects on which they want to work or the alliance they want to join. That is a market, a free market. There's a company called Nipro where new products are developed on the basis. They have an internal market of 20 plants. There's new project ideas. They say, we'll not make it standardized till somebody raise hand, I'll do it. And they opened it to internal people. And there's a market inside, internal market. So team members have right to choose whatever you want to choose. And employees have access to training. If anyone wants a training in some sales training or operations management or financial management, the company makes available. GE does that very well. GE does that very well. Now I'm coming back to internal. Other things that internal enterprises are recognized within the organization as official standing. The company defines and supports a system of contractual agreement. If somebody is going for a new project, there's a contractual agreement. If something goes wrong, don't worry about it. That kind of an agreement. I now move on to the last part, the promoting entrepreneurship. How do you promote entrepreneurship? Promote organizations and entrepreneurs will please remember that the first thing organizations want us to do. Encouraging entrepreneurship will require experiments. Please remember that you're saying if you want success in innovation, you have to accelerate failures. We need experiments for that. To make this happen, there must be new choices in staffing, structure, systems, and culture. Companies must revisit. I believe that today's workshop on entrepreneurship, there's a discussion going on to be what the companies need to do to make sure that entrepreneurship happen. And it's a journey. It's not going to happen on one day workshop. And what Unfold is trying to do is this: they're trying to promote an idea that you need to look back, look at your staffing structure, systems, and culture to promote entrepreneurship. It will not happen on day one. The very important point is the second point I've experienced myself: managing tension between experiments undertaken by an entrepreneur and existing approaches. The CFO, if he continues to evaluate the new project taken up by an entrepreneur in the way he does in a profit center or a cost center, nothing will happen. CFO must be good enough as a part of the senior management team to understand while you can evaluate monthly performance, quarterly performance of a regular day-to-day business, you can't do the same thing in case of an entrepreneurial project. That's called managing the tension, because there will be pressure also on CFO that why you are supporting the entrepreneurial venture. Interest, please remember, interest, influence, and politics disrupts experiments associated with entrepreneurial initiatives. There are politics inside it. Who is going to win, who is going to lose, and most companies have this stupid logic. I let me repeat to you: winning is not enough. Many people have this idea: winning is not enough, others must lose. That's where the politics come. So interest, influence, and politics disrupt experiments are essential for entrepreneurship. Hold the entrepreneurs responsible. Look at the last slide. The IBM has done it in the past many times. Nowadays, I don't know. Hold the entrepreneurs responsible for experiments, for learning, and not for short-term results. I told you just now the tension between evaluating today's performance and entrepreneurial projects. This tension has to be like this. I should say that I won't look at results of the entrepreneur. I'll ask what learning you have got so that you're not going to repeat next time. But that's so much for probably company. Now let's go to individual managers. You as the manager, now turning as the entrepreneur. That's an important choice. The company can do up to that much, but you still have to raise your hand to use the policies available. First thing is, first you must know that it's amazing and how far you can will get by just staying with something long enough. Most people give up too early. Their fears are bigger than faith. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be an entrepreneur within an organization, your fears have to be bigger than faith. It is never too late to become the person who you always dreamed of being. People say, I wish I could have become. And we never started. You know why we never started? The company did not give me a chance. That could be a stupid logic. If somebody wants to start, and you can start doing the way I say, it is indeed possible. There is no safety. There is no safety in being the same person today that we are yesterday. You may have got 5 promotions. You have become general manager. But the last 5 years next 5 years is going to be very, very different from the last 5 years. Success is never ending. Please remember that failure is never final. In my last slide, I'm ready for a question. I told you 11:30 I'll finish. It's gone. And please read the last paragraph, and that's where I'm going to end. The first is success is never ending. So if you are successful, it's never ending. If failure is never final. Smooth roads never make a good drivers. Smooth sea never makes good sailors. Clear skies never make good pilots. Problem-free life never makes a strong person. Let us be strong to accept the challenges of life. Let us not ask, why me? Instead ask, try me. Enjoy the journey called life. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and attention. Let's make Q&A. This is my question answer. I'm on time. I'm not taking an extra time. I've never taken any extra time in my life in any speech. May I have question, moderator, Mr. Moderator? Can I have questions, please? I love to have questions because in that case I can customize the talk. Lot more questions. And
any question cards that we need to pick up? Sorry, anybody wants question cards?
Hi, moderator. Any question? Nobody?
Yeah.
You know that questions are the answer. Do you know that? Questions are the answer. If you have no questions, which means that I should be stroking some imagination. Some point should be contested. If you don't contest, how will you learn? Even I want to learn from you. He said, Professor Das, this statement of yours is wrong. I don't believe it.
So I just want to...
Let's have a debate. We have got 10 minutes left.
Okay, so Professor Das can't hear me.
Any question?
He's going through a very, very significant personal
It's a wonderful
situation.
interactive platform. Did you see? I'm sitting in Calcutta. You are in Bangalore.
and he has
And this
actually
academy, the
cancelled
study
all
academy, is
his
driving this entire
assignments,
thing. Have you
barring
seen
this
the
one.
last line what I wrote?
He's cancelled all his consulting assignments. He's cancelled all the IM classes for the next 1 week because he's going through a very, very significant personal situation, except for this one today. So it's really a pleasure to actually have him and give his time for this, considering his personal circumstance. You heard the passion in which he spoke, because entrepreneurship is something he's really passionate about, and I think it came out strongly. So would request you, we have the last 10 minutes. Let us have your questions so that we can place it to him. He teaches entrepreneurship and innovation at IIM Calcutta, and through his Strategy Academy, he, of course, also teaches entrepreneurship like Gifford. So it would be really, we just have 10 minutes, so we can quickly have your questions and we can send it to him.
For the entrepreneurship. Patience is your ambitions. Your ambition remains constant. Until the goal is achieved, you keep trying it. The patience is a fundamental part in entrepreneurship, which means there will be huge failures coming in between. And I told you, the success is never ending and the failure is never final. So you must have the big picture in front of you, and you are going, it will be a lonely journey. You know you are an entrepreneur when you know that you have questions which no one can answer. Only you have to answer yourself. So ladies and gentlemen, patience is the name of the game. It's all about, you have to be like a boxer. You know who's a boxer? The boxer actually tries to play the boxing like this. You know, sometimes you'll get hit, so you have the ability to absorb that shot. You hit, you're down. But you also have the agility to stand up again and do again the fighting. So many times you have seen in the boxing field, the ultimate winner actually falls down many times. But he has the agility to get up again and start. So that's it, patience is very important. And I told you, in order to win, you have to lose many times. And because you are an entrepreneur, you are going to win anyway ultimately. Don't leave the race halfway. You have to have the patience. And I get a question from Ranjan, and he's saying that GameC are renewable private. Do you see the culture of entrepreneurship getting embedded in your organization? I'm telling you, the market will teach you. The long ago, Adam Smith wrote in The Wealth of Nation a line, and I tell you that was that. He said that if the companies don't behave, in the way market wants, market will teach them. The invisible hand of the market, the hands are not seen on the market, they come and grab your neck. So the companies and the senior management team must create, they'll be compelled to create a culture of entrepreneurship. Don't worry about that. Market will tell them, you start your work. If up to a point you wait, beyond the point, your dream should be strong enough to take you out of the system. Otherwise, I tell you, be ready to report to somebody half your age. I'm scared, I never did it myself. Don't do it ever yourself. In the education, we don't need managers by entrepreneurs. Can you have a new terminology instead of managers? What is it, manager by entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is a word. I don't get what the meaning of the word. We don't need managers by entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? A manager who is working in a company is acting like an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur context is different than an entrepreneur. The most important difference is the entrepreneur has to think about cash, monthly cash every month. Like I run Study Academy. I'm 68, I have to go to the market to get orders. If I don't get X crores of rupees per month, I can't give salary to people. I have to go. But when I was in IIM Calcutta, at least nobody told me that your salary is not coming. So, your MBA education is a skill building education. Now, will you use it as a manager and help others to do the business? In a corporate sector, the owners have no time nor no knowledge, but they have money. And you have the skill and knowledge and time, but no money. So joint stock companies came in between as a vehicle where owners gave the petrol, that is the money and time, they are willing to wait, and the managers wanted a job, but they have the skills and they work. For an entrepreneur to start with, he's both owner and a manager. After some time, of course, other people join. I hope I answered your question. I didn't answer the question properly. You can ask me again if I have not. Any other question, please? Any other question, please? And moderator, please tell me your time. I do not want to cross the timing. Your scheduled time, I must stop. Question for Prabhu. In the Indian not so organized companies, innovation goes by average, jugaad, and huge benefits and can't gain without making much noise about it. Going in a structured way, you are absolutely correct. Even that I am Calcutta, hugely famous long duration executive program, I can tell you today. We had no policy for long program. We have just management development policy of short duration like Ahmedabad and Calcutta and Bangalore. And here I come, Ranjan Das comes with a 1-year program on top of that digital where I am Calcutta has never done, no IIMs have done. Ahmedabad even today they don't do. How do you do it? Jugaad. You start managing relationship. So you drive your proposal, huge value, long duration program as a short duration program, keeping quiet and just put it out. You get the approval official processes. There's no product called LDP, long duration program. So use the existing format, put it inside. The committee noted they don't know what to do. They passed it because money involved was big ticket item. Somewhere you have to incentivize. And the company institute took 5 more years before the new long duration program policy came. Can you imagine? I got 5 years of free hand and the company bureaucracy is still thinking what to do, how to handle this animal called digital technology and long duration program. We have done more than 10,000 people by that time. That's called jugaad. Even study academy is jugaad. There are 6 systems working independently. This lecture is going on. There are several systems working, all are independent, connected by my head. There's no technology connecting that. So many things are happening right now. There are independent locations that's helping me, but they're all connected separately. They're independent. Sora is now saying that what the biggest contribution entrepreneurship made to any humanity. All entrepreneurs, please remember first of all how entrepreneurs make contribution to humanity, and then you understand. Entrepreneurs have an idea. Then they set up a business plan. Then they go and employ people. First comes is employment. So first thing entrepreneur does is create employment out of their risk-taking propensity. Those employees create value for the customer, then customers pay. After meeting all the expenses, the tax goes to government. And then whatever surplus comes, entrepreneurs give back to the company, or their own personal investment, but the money stays in the country. In other words, entrepreneurs are the biggest social service provider. They create employment, they pay taxes, they use resources efficiently, and then whatever surplus remains, either they plow back or they invest in the country, either in fixed deposit and capital market. In other words, entrepreneurship is all about social service. Entrepreneurship too. You're creating new assets, new resources, new revenue, but all is happening in this mother India. The biggest social service is this. You don't have to open an NGO for that. You know, like this Strategy Academy, I employed 8 people. I've done 8 now. At 68 people, I pay salary for 8 people. Isn't it a social service? Government cannot solve all problems. Let us solve problems ourselves. Entrepreneurs are the real people. Entrepreneurs are the real people who can solve India's problem. I hope I answered your question, Sona. Krishnan saying that, what are the risks taken by you when you are an entrepreneur? Do you have an entrepreneur? Yes, first of all, the risk, don't wait for somebody to spot you. First of all, are you ready? The essential part is that, do you have an idea which others don't have, and do you have the fire in the belly to carry it forward? And the biggest risk that you put in, the biggest stake that you put in is your personal reputation. Even in IIM Tata, this question came up when I wanted IIM Tata support. And they said, why do you think IIM Tata will invest in something that is unknown? Because those days, not even 1G was there. Broadband was not there. Some satellite-based technology was there. And this question was put to me in front of the academic council. You know what are my answer? He said, they said that if I put money, IIM Tata is taking this. I said, even I am taking this. So what risk you are taking, Professor Das? Well, I am taking this as my own reputation as India's first PhD in strategy. If I am putting my reputation, why can't you put? That broke the click. You have to understand clearly. You have to understand clearly that you have to spot the opportunity, and you have to fire inside your belly, and the first thing that you put at stake your career. And I told you, don't get to Magia. Then we don't need such people. Other thing is that Paritosh is saying that as per industry, smart work is better than hard work. Of course, hard work is taken for granted. Please tell me, Paritosh, few things don't talk about it. They're taken for granted. Hard work is taken for granted. If you don't have, you are just out of thing. Similarly, what you call hope. Hope is the requirement for entrepreneurship. But smart work is, what is smart work? Go back to my equation, opportunity by resources. How do I create more opportunities with less resources? That's smartness. How do I do more work in less time? How do I do more work without any people even? That's called smartness. But whatever resources you have got, then you have to work. Only smart work without hard work will not help. Only hard work without smart work will not help. Are you getting my question? Are you clear? So that's the thing. Another thing is that question from Intraprenuership Kumar. He said, how does it work in larger organization where we are working in functional matrix organization where we are bound to deliver? Again, I told you transaction. Hi, Intraprenuership Kumar. Please remember, you are always doing two jobs. Transaction job. A job has to be done today. That today is your salary. But you also have to say, in this transaction, do I see an opportunity? I always say ITS companies. I work with a few companies in Bombay. All ITS companies, the delivery people are the best salesmen they could be. If I can train entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship to a delivery team, they're the best people, because they are in transactions with a client company. They can see new opportunities. They have the eyes, ears, and brain. If you just encourage them, those guys will create more leads than your BD people sitting in United States and on-site. So I think, don't confuse. Take the transaction as today's job you have to do. But you also take a double duty, I told you. Look at what new thing I can do here. A, in terms of less resources. B, getting a new revenue stream out of this account. So I think it's a great blessing that you're interacting the delivery team. There's no limits. Limit is only your mind. If something is not going to happen because you thought it can't be happen. If something you got an idea and the idea did not fly because of you only, because you got the idea and you killed it. Nobody else killed it. Don't tell your MD killed it. Because you didn't want to do it. That's why it happened like that. Dr. Vatsala is saying that Srisadipuram Educational Institution, he's saying that his meaning powerful enemies really help us peacefully. Powerful enemies, you will try your best not to create powerful enemies, obviously. But if it does come, you have to face it. You have to bite the bullet. You can't run away halfway from the war. Once you get in, you got to have that. You can't be a theoretical entrepreneurship. You will not create enemies. You'll find bypass. You find ways and means not to do it. But once in a while, you've got to stand up and do your job. Otherwise, you're out. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay well. You'll get a PPT. Thank you very much. Hi, moderator. Can I close the session? Can you just confirm that I can close the session? Can you please confirm that I can close the session? Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, so we have two options and I'm leaving it with the group. We are running a little late and being conscious of time. Either we can keep the tea coffee running or we can take a few minutes break for tea. What would you want? I'm keeping it democratic. Okay, if you could grab your tea and tea coffee and please come back and have it here, it'll be good because our speakers are here and we'd like to be sensitive to time. Thank you. You can just grab your tea coffee and come back. Thank you.